Oh, bro, drop the ego.
It's these little habits that compound over time.
Thinking like a CEO, moving like a CEO.
But I think the hustle mentality is causing a lot of issues.
You are the main contributor to how much you earn.
I've made so many mistakes.
You're draining your energy.
What would be the piece of advice that you would give to younger Blake who just started out in sales?
By far, my biggest struggle to start off with, I couldn't handle the fact that...
So how did you handle that? How did you overcome that?
Another good question. Okay.
Constant blame.
Yeah, and that's where you're wrong. It's just very simple.
Well, here we are then. So we're live with the Sales of Callum podcast. And I'm actually really excited about this podcast because I've literally known Blake, who I'll introduce now. I've only known him for literally just over 2.5 months now. Yep. And he's actually one of the clients. He's one of the members involved with Sales Growth Club. And we're going to be diving into about Blake's story in terms of high ticket sales, and the results that you've got already is actually crazy. Like you just mentioned a minute ago, you can't believe it's only been 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So I sort of just want to ask you a question before we sort of dive into it. Obviously, we literally met 2.5 months ago. Where were you 2.5 months ago, and where are you now?
Feels like a different world, mate. Just recently left my previous workplace, which was being an investment broker, essentially selling investment properties to investors all around the UK. At that minute in time, I was looking to go remote, which is the full reason we had the conversation that we did. Luckily got linked up from one of our acquaintances, Callum Graham.
Shout out Callum Graham.
Shout out Callum Graham. He linked us up, we had a conversation, and he done a little fact find on me. Like for a couple of bits of information and seen what I wanted to do with my life, essentially, where I want to go from here. I told you I wanted to work remote. I told you I wanted to live the businessman's lifestyle, X, Y, and Z, a couple of bits of information. And since we spoke 2.5 months ago, nearly all of that's came true. Nearly there.
I love that. So dive into exactly, obviously, because we're obviously speaking about, obviously, right now we're filming this podcast actually at a place called Ansel, which is an amazing place to share with the boys. We've done our first in-person Sales Growth Club live event in London, which was amazing. Blake and Rory obviously flew out from Scotland, which was so cool.
Yep.
I guess in terms of for you, like when we were speaking yesterday on the tube, and you mentioned to me as well, like majority of high ticket sales reps, when they go remote, majority of the roles are commission basis, commission only.
100%,
Whereas when you shared with me what you've managed to land after never doing remote sales before, by the way, obviously you did sales previously. Share a bit about what offer you're on and how's that looking?
So at the minute, fully remote. What I do is I help business owners around the UK scale and grow their businesses through offering finance solutions for their customers. All right. So it means they can grow their standard profit margins, they can grow their standard job value, as well as get a lot more business through the front door. For a company called Canada Finance. Shout out Canada Finance. Basically at this minute in time, every 8 to 12 weeks we do a link up with the business, but it's fully remote. So the business is you generate, well, not generate your own leads, it's all inbound leads. But you're running your own CRMs, you're doing your own follow-ups. It is essentially running your own business from home, which you managed to help me land. Thank you very much for that.
Anytime, bro. Anytime. And obviously you mentioned as well about what you just mentioned then was something that me and Jordan speak a lot about at Sales Growth Club, is acting like you're a business owner, being like a CEO. How have you seen a big shift and difference of going from, obviously I know you've done door-to-door sales. I know you've done obviously in an office environment sales, but now you're remote and you're like your own man, you've got no one around you. Share a bit about the difference that you found of going down the remote high ticket sales space.
It's a completely different lifestyle. That's genuinely what it's like. So, first of all, living a remote lifestyle for work, you get a lot more time, okay? Because you're not doing travel to and from work like an hour each way. So you get a lot more time in your day to do whatever it is you want to be doing, whether that's going to the gym, whether that's going out a walk. Do you know what I'm saying? You can work on your health, your fitness, and yourself a lot more, okay? Which is a big benefit about working remote. But it also generates a lot of accountability, right? Because nobody else is going to help you. You're in a big man's world now. You have been told you're running your own business. So anything you can or can't do, you need to hold yourself accountable for, if that makes sense. Just like you said yesterday during the podcast. Well, sorry, not during the podcast, but during the event. Congratulations, by the way. Amazing turnout yesterday afternoon.
Thank you.
It is like being a CEO, thinking like a CEO, moving like a CEO. That way you are preparing to essentially one day be a solopreneur or entrepreneur. Yeah, exactly. So that's what it's like. It's like you are genuinely running your own business. You need to take full accountability for if you're closing leads or you're not closing leads. Don't blame setters. All blame leads, you blame yourself. You find out where you went wrong, you build from it, and you make sure it doesn't happen again.
The ones that I see it a lot in the high ticket space, especially remote.
Yeah.
Especially remote, because a lot of people are new to the remote space.
Yeah.
You know, whereas sales has been a different game, whereas remote is quite a new thing, right? It's almost the new thing that everybody wants to get into.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that a lot of people are blaming the offer, a lot of people are blaming the leads, blaming the appointment setters. It's constant blame.
Yeah.
You're not gonna last.
Yeah. I can agree with that, mate. I can agree with that. It's like the old saying, the workman never blames his tools. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Himself. It's the exact same. It correlates the exact same to remote sales, mate.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's been amazing. Like, to give some context, like Blake is actually on a salary plus commission.
Yeah.
Which
rare.
Which is rare in the remote space, which is incredible because you get the best of both worlds.
Yep.
You know, I think when people are just on a salary, it makes people comfortable.
Yep.
But the fact you're on 10% commission and a salary, it gives you that hunger still, but it also gives you that stability, which has been the reason why you've been able to, in such a short time frame, you've been traveling, you've been doing lots of different trips, you've got loads coming up.
Yeah, so that's what one of the main questions you asked me when I wanted to go remote is why.
Yeah.
Why do you want to go remote? And it is that one, time freedom.
Yeah.
And two, location freedom, right?
Yeah.
As a big example, the first time forever, I managed to go on. I've been on 3 holidays this year already, just to put that into perspective.
Yeah.
But the first holiday I've ever managed to go on and make money while I was abroad.
Yeah,
so I was by the pool, closing deals with the missus, etc., etc. And mate, it's a very humbling feeling, if that makes sense. It was like a little, you take a step back and you realise, shit, I'm doing what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Like I'm living the lifestyle that I want to be living.
Yeah.
And that is thanks to, first of all, you guys, and also the fact that I managed to move into the remote space, which was the main goal here.
Yeah, and you've made it happen. You made it happen. And obviously to shout out Mr. Callum Graham, who trained you a lot. Obviously, he was your old sales manager at the old company, so he's had a big influence on you as well. And I think with yourself, I think what I've noticed with you already had some very good fundamentals with sales. I think with you, it was what I've realised, some of the biggest things for yourself was learning more about actually getting them to sell themselves.
100%, yeah.
and then also the mindset side of things. A bit like, I want to kind of touch on what you mentioned then as well a moment ago about you've had this epiphany and realisation the other day that, you are achieving and living your goals that you actually wanted. And because it can be easy, like we're all entrepreneurs, right? Anyone listening to the Sales with Callum podcast is an entrepreneur, wants to be an entrepreneur, right? Yeah. And I think as an entrepreneur, like we all have big goals, right? It's the same with me and Jordan running Sales Growth Club live event yesterday. We're already talking about the next one and the next one, right?
Planning ahead, mate.
However, you know, me and Jordan had a moment together of like, bro, we did it. We sold it out. The event was wicked. The networking was amazing. We did it. And I think it can be sometimes easy to forget about the now and the present. And obviously, I want to talk to you about this a little bit because I know that you love your gratitude. And I mentioned to you about the secret. And I didn't even realise you told me yesterday that you were already listening to it when I told you, which was crazy. I want you to share a little bit about how manifestation, gratitude has been a bit of a secret weapon for you on your journey to getting such amazing results in a very short time frame. Yeah.
So, great question, by the way.
Yeah.
It was really good timing. I think it was very simply right time, right place, right people. Right. So just the correct scenario. As you said, shout out Callum Graham. I was already getting like a little mentorship and coaching from Callum Graham, right? At that minute in time, we were stripping back everything that I was working on and rebuilding, getting really strong foundations, like you said, to move into like the high ticket space, etc., etc. And I came across this book called The Secret, which he recommended as well.
Oh, I recommended it to him.
We recommended it.
This is how it passes. This is how it goes, right? Yeah.
So I was literally on chapter 1, the very first chapter of the book when I joined the SGC.
Yeah.
And then I started going through, obviously, the coursework, etc., etc. And it was one of the first things you mentioned. You're like, we'll get to sales in a minute. Let's work on the mentality. Let's work on the energy, the holistic approach behind the sales.
Yeah.
Which is not even arguably, it is the most important part of sales.
Yeah.
The energy transfer, etc., etc. It really is. It's kind of you connect with your clients, right?
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Whether you have a realistic approach to manifestation or whether you have like a spiritual approach, either way it works.
Yeah.
Right. It really does, because the way that the law of attraction would work or gratitude would work is almost like a currency to the universe.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you understand this.
Yeah.
It's consistently thinking about the positive thoughts, thinking about and connecting those thoughts to feelings, which would then translate into actions, which would then translate into your habits, which then turns into your reality, right?
Yeah.
So it's like an algorithm. It really is. It's like an algorithm. If you have the correct positive thoughts and you consistently think about them, and you consistently try and connect a feeling to that, like happiness, love, joy, gratitude, which is one of the most highest frequency feelings that you can possibly get.
That's
You connect that to an action consistently, and that will genuinely change your reality, which is how exactly the law of attraction should work.
Yeah, and the combination, and this is why I've integrated it so much into my sales training, because I don't hear it that much.
Yeah.
Because obviously the secret, everyone that's involved with the secret, incredible entrepreneurs, they don't speak about sales much.
Yeah.
Involved with it.
Yeah.
But the combination of being lethal at sales and networking, plus being tapped into that different frequency and that different energy, the combination of that is
deadly, mate.
It's deadly.
Yeah.
It's deadly.
Yeah.
But I actually want to go back to your roots a bit more.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I want to find out a bit about the younger you, the younger Blake. Like where did your entrepreneurial spirit start? Because everyone's been on their own little journeys, and I know obviously with yourself, you've been involved with sales for quite a few years now. So where did your entrepreneurial spirit actually start?
I think school,
Okay.
I think it came from like a much younger age at school. Okay.
Younger than school.
I would say so, yeah, like early school days. So I was a little bit of havoc in school.
I could imagine.
I didn't really like the rules, if that made sense.
Nor did I.
I think that's a common factor for entrepreneurs. They don't really stick to the guidelines. They think a little bit outside the box. Yeah. I think because you were consistently almost forced into doing whether you wanted to do it or not is what they're asking you to do. Okay?
Yeah.
Like stick in the guidelines.
Yeah.
That didn't work out for me. I'm not saying I done bad in school. I got good grades. Okay.
Yeah.
I got my highs. I got good grades. However, when I got my first job, I seen that it had nothing to do with what I learned in school. Absolutely nothing to do with what I learned in school. However, I was still successful in it. Right. I still was doing better than my colleagues, etc., etc. And I understood that if I truly put my focus on something and my energy into something, and I drive towards it, I will achieve it.
What was your first job?
Funnily enough, it was actually being a self-employed joiner. So it was a more hands-on role. Okay. But it taught me you can't give up halfway through a job. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to complete the job for another client. It's like a work in progress, and you need to see the finished result.
Yeah.
So it transfers directly into sales as well. It's a lot of commitment that you need to put into something to get the sale done. Just like a lot of commitment you need to put in to get the job done.
Yeah.
We then transferred from being a self-employed joiner into sales, which was my second ever job, which was really low ticket. It was actually working for a dairy supply chain. Travelling all across the UK, not delivering, but selling dairy products it was B2C, business to consumer.
Yeah.
At first I didn't really like it, but it was good money. That's the full reason a lot of people get into sales initially is for the money.
Yeah.
And then I started to get the knack of it. Started to do really, really well in a short space of time. Within about 6 months, I ended up running my own team, which Rory was a part of. And from that point on, we started to be essentially one of the faces of the company. So we would do expansion trips, if that makes sense. We'd go out, we'd do expansion trips, we'd canvass new areas and sell products, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I then almost hit a roadblock. I hit a roadblock. I simply couldn't do any better than what I was doing within that company. And that's when the high ticket offer came about to move into the property side of things. But to touch back on what you're saying, I think that I think it was school that made me a little bit more entrepreneurial, and then sales was the accelerator for that, because you are the main contributor to how much you earn. There's nobody else in the way. You directly pick and choose how much money you would make. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. And I want to rewind you back to when you first started out in sales.
Mm-hmm.
What was your biggest struggle and biggest challenge when you first started out?
By far, rejection. Bro, door to door, you get rejected all of the time. It's like 90% rejection. So I was quite a confident person forever. Like, I've always had a lot of confidence and a lot of, it's like that demeanour. When you walk into a room, you can just feel an energy. I'm a very confident person, and that shell shocked me because it was 90% no, getting doors slammed in your face.
Yeah.
You know what door to door's like.
Yeah, brutal game.
Oh, say that again, mate.
Makes you tough.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. You build resilience.
Yeah.
Right? You get used to like when people say no, so that when somebody's even just a little bit interested, you can jump on it. You can really capitalise on the fact that you can generate a conversation. You know what I mean? Lead the conversation to a direction that you want it to go. So by far my biggest struggle to start off with, I couldn't handle the fact that I couldn't sell.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because I was so new to sales and there's a lot of rejection and door to door. It affected my confidence and ego a little bit at the start.
Yeah. So how did you handle that? How did you overcome that?
Resilience, essentially. So I was working with a boy who had been one of my old friends from school, Reese. He was my team leader at the time, and he taught me the basics, the fundamentals to sales, which really helped because you need to understand it's an input and output game. It's simply numbers, right?
Yeah.
You can't sell to everybody; it's impossible. But you can try your absolute best all of the time.
Yeah.
So if you try your best all of the time, eventually you're going to hit those numbers. So even all the ones that say no, that's fine. Move on to the next person.
Yeah.
3 no's in a go. As they say on the doors, mate. 3 no's in a go.
Yeah, no, I like that. So obviously for, a lot of people that are obviously, tuning into this podcast, like the Sales with Callum podcast, people are going to be in different stages of their journey.
Yeah.
And obviously rejection is a big part of it.
100%.
And if you were going to give some advice for someone that is struggling with rejection, is, in that inconsistent, like they're in that inconsistent deal cycle where they just they're just on a losing streak. Like what advice would you give to them in that scenario?
Another good question. Okay. So energy levels is going to be a really big thing here. Okay.
Love that.
Because when you're consistently, it's like they're breaking down a wall with brick by brick. Every rejection you get, they're taking a brick off and knocking that wall down.
Going lower.
100%, mate. You're draining your energy, right?
Yeah.
Because you're constantly putting 100% effort in and getting nowhere.
Yeah.
So you're just output. Okay. Something you taught me was a lot of energy hacks, which I wish I could have used. I wish I could have used back in the day. I use it today, which is it's life changing. Okay. So being able to get even with all of the rejections that you're getting, even with all the no's that you're getting, and you're really trying, consistently making sure your energy levels are as consistent as possible, high energy, high frequency. Make sure you're putting your all, put your all into the sale, and it can be hard. So sometimes take a break. Yeah, like walk away 10, 15 minutes, go for a walk. The long 30-second fat, etc. Make sure you get your energy levels back up. That way you're feeling good and that'll transfer directly over to the client as well.
No, I love that. And obviously I'm glad you touched on that. Like, I mean, look, what did you see me what did you see me do before this podcast?
About 15 minutes ago, Callum was on his hands and knees doing some push-ups.
And the reason being was I've got to a point now where I'm just so in tune and so aware.
Yeah.
Like, look, at the end of the day, right? I'll whatever I've got on, whatever mission I've got on, like I'm getting the job done. But I want to make sure that I'm going to get it done at the highest quality and in my best frequency.
Yeah.
So literally me doing 30 push-ups that took me not long, right? Doesn't take long to do at all. Like the difference, even though it might not seem a massive difference, I know for a fact that I'll be showing up better in this podcast because of doing that, right? So it's these little things, it's these little habits that compound over time. Imagine every single sales appointment, you could just be that 1% or that one level higher.
Yep.
The over a year,
compound effect, mate, is crazy.
The difference of how many more deals you're going to close or appointments you're going to book is going to be frightening. Just from increasing your energy a little bit. And I think this is where the business world, and look, some people, that's what some people want. But I think the hustle mentality is causing a lot of issues short term, but it's also going to cause a lot of issues for people long term as well. What's your views on that?
You burn out really quickly, bro. Like, see if you're consistently hustling and you can't manage your energy correctly, you're going to burn out, which is really going to affect your career. Whether you understand that or not, it's going to, because you're going to have not days where you're not selling, not weeks where you're not selling, but that can last 30 months. As we both know, sales is swings and roundabouts. It is. But you can decide how high the highs are going to go and how low the lows are going to go if you can control your energy correctly. Yeah. If you can't, those lows are going to be really bad and you are going to burn out and you're not going to get any sales, and that can affect your career because you could lose a job. Yeah. You could lose your job. That's why I think that those little energy hacks, they're a life changer, mate. They really are. And like you said, it's a compound effect, mate. Yeah. Like that 1% better each and every day to every single client. How many clients can you get booked in the year? How many clients can you close in the year? How high can your percentage rate go for conversion? It's endless probability, to be honest with you, mate. Yeah, that's amazing. That's huge. And obviously,
we speak a lot about like the CEO seller system, right?
Yes.
So the three pillars that myself and Jordan have created at Sales Growth Club is working on the mind, working on building relationships and networking, and then being a deal maker, being a deal closer, right? They're like the three steps.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've already spoke about mindset, touched on closing. I mean, the better you work on your mindset, the more deals you're going to close.
Yeah.
I want to touch on to your perspective and your mindset when it comes to the way you build relationships in your sales role, and also how you network, and what advice you can give in that area, because I think we're living in a world where it's getting too transactional.
Yeah, 100%. So I'd say authenticity is key here.
Okay.
You guys kind of touched on it yesterday as well when we were obviously within the group. When you're selling authentically, when you believe in the product, when you have the confidence to sell it, and you're authentically selling to somebody else, you're going to be the highest frequency, right? Energy, very transferable.
Yeah.
So I try to be as authentic as possible, while being a doctor. Again, which what I learned from SGC. So you want to make sure, and you don't want to care about the money and the situation. You want to be in a position where you can understand where your clients are and why they're there. Okay.
Yeah.
So understand their current state, understand what they're doing at the minute, what's going right, what's going wrong. You want to understand the desired state, where they want to be in X amount of time, what they want to be doing in X amount of time, what they want to be achieving, X amount of products. Okay. And you want to figure out what's going on in the middle, and you want to help that. You want to position whatever your service or offer is right in that middle part, where you can, it's going to be fair value exchange. They're not buying a product, they're fixing their problems, and it's going to help them amazing in the future. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a drastic change. It's going to be the transfer from where they're at right now, and it's going to be the guidelines to how to get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway from what I do right now currently to my clients.
That works very well.
100%.
Yeah, I love that. And this is a random question that I've never asked before, and I want to ask you because obviously you mentioned about when I was on the call with you and I did the discovery with you and stuff. I want to ask your question of like how the experience was of, I guess, because I don't like to call it sales. I like to call it just help, right? It's I'm serving, I'm helping. How did you find that experience? And also, what was your biggest lesson from reflecting on the way I was with you on that call?
You're so helpful. Okay, you were really trying to help me, which not a lot of people do, because yet again, that's authenticity. You're in this game to help everybody else and build a really strong network around you, right?
100%.
That's authenticity right there, because that's your true values. It's what you really want to be doing, which is why you believe in your product, which is why you believe in your service, and you'll help as much as you possibly can along the way.
Yeah.
I took that. I kind of stole it. Good. And the sales that I've received from that are a lot. Well, they're doing pretty well, put it that way. Yeah. Because I truly do believe in the product. I know for a fact it's going to be a massive benefit to the businesses around the UK who are looking to scale the business. Yeah. I will try my absolute hardest to make sure we are going to be a massive part of that and help them along the way, whether that be through generating leads, offering finance for their customers, etc. There's so many things we can do within our business to help them scale their own business. Okay? Yeah. And I know for a fact that I can get them to the desired outcome through our help. Yeah. So it's complete authenticity, which I took from you, because you did that to me. You showed complete authenticity. You were very truthful. You told me exactly what you wanted to do, where exactly you wanted to take me, and it's happened. Exactly. Everything that I wanted to do, you've helped me get to the position where I can now make that's my reality. That's exactly where I want to be. Yeah. And we're only 2.5 months in. Next year.
Imagine a decade from now.
It's a different world, isn't it?
I know. it is a different world. And I just wanted to touch on that. It's actually so good to just reflect on everything. Yeah. Because I've got to a point now where I'm really like analysing if someone tries to sell me in the DMs or someone tries to sell me on a call, you will always remember a bad sales call. You'll always remember it. And you will always remember a good sales call. And you'll always remember that. So it's like, just focus on building relationship, focus on trust, because even if they don't buy now, at least they've left the call in a good energy. Exactly. When they leave in the call where and I'll be honest, I've had a call before where I've been hung up on. Yep. I've been on a sales call and they've literally hung up on me. I've been defensive. I've made so many mistakes, and now I just lead with so much, like you mentioned, just focus on helping. Yeah. Because even if they're not ready right now, who are they going to come back to?
The person who tried to help.
the person who tried to help, that was genuinely there, that wasn't being transactional, and that's the message that I really want to spread.
Yeah.
And I think even after this weekend as well, and after this podcast as well, I really definitely, I would love you to run a mastermind at some point for our community. I think that would be amazing, bro. I really do. And I know that obviously after this podcast, we're going to be speaking more about that, because obviously you're going to be running a mastermind for your own business, which a training, which I think is so cool. Like you're really making a lot of moves. And obviously, if you want to join myself and Blake, in the description, you'll be able to join our free community sales growth club as well, which would be amazing to see you in there as well. And Blake's there to connect and help you guys as well. Because that's the thing with you. Like I said to you, I know you're destined to help a lot. I know you're destined to go on to becoming a successful, even potentially coach. Who knows? I just know whatever you do, you're going to help a lot of people, which is absolutely amazing. But I've got one final question to wrap this podcast up. You could ask this question to anyone in the world, and you could get value from anyone. And I think it's a really good question to reflect on, but also to help.
Yeah.
It's like the reason why, if you speak to the elderly and you ask them what their biggest regret was, or what advice they'd give to their younger self, a lot of the time it's because they didn't do it, and they're like, oh, I wish I did that,
Yeah.
So my question to you, what age did you start out in sales?
About 19 and a half. Right?
19 and a half. Wow. So you're flying, bro. You're flying for that in terms of that time frame.
Yeah.
So if you were to go back 19 and a half, when you first started in sales, with everything that you know now, what would be the piece of advice that you would give to younger Blake who just started out in sales?
Oh, bro, drop the ego. Drop the ego, bro.
Elaborate.
So I kind of touched on this yesterday when we were finishing up, and Jordan was kind of going round the room asking what the biggest value from today was.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to give a very similar answer, just because it sticks with me. My journey might be different to everybody else's, but I know it can be very transferable across the same space. Okay. I think being as vulnerable as possible and understanding your true reality is going to make you progress 10 times quicker, because the reason a lot of people are making mistakes and not achieving what they want to be achieving in the time frames they've set themselves, if you have goals, is down to your ego telling you that you're doing the right thing when you're not, right? Because you're clearly not, if you're not achieving the goals you want in the time frame you want to be doing it, you're doing something wrong, okay? Yeah. So strip the ego, put the ego aside, and realise you're not doing as good as what you need to be doing, and you need to get better. So what can you fix? Okay.
How would you strip the ego for someone listening?
So I actually read a book called Atomic Habits, which started out, great book, and it is similar to what we were talking about earlier on. It's the compound effect of getting just simply 1% 1% better each and every day by getting small wins throughout the day. And if you're getting small wins throughout the day consistently, you're going to get a better energy, better mind frame, etc., etc. It gets better and better. To strip your ego, I spoke to people who are in positions much higher than me, positions where I wanted to be, which I couldn't currently reach. For example, somebody like yourself, somebody like Callum at the time, people who had been where I was at, done the process, made a lot of mistakes along the way and learned from it, and taught me how to avoid those mistakes by doing X, Y, and Z, if that makes sense. So investing into somebody who is in a position where you want to be is probably one of the biggest things that can help strip an ego. Do
you think that an ego will stop a lot of people from actually investing into themselves because they think they can just do it all themselves?
Yeah, and that's where you're wrong. It's just very simple. Like, investing into yourself is always going to be a very profitable investment because it never leaves you.
Okay? It never leaves you.
Never. You can always build upon yourself. Like leveling up in a game, like you said yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like you're leveling up every single time you invest a little bit of time or money into yourself. You're slowly leveling up and you're getting better and better each and every time, and it sticks with you.
I genuinely say, even if you invest in yourself and it doesn't quote unquote go right, you've still won.
You've learned, bro.
You've learned, but not only that, you've also been willing, because so many of the world, like I mentioned in the talk yesterday, you can either think small or think big. The majority are thinking small. You want to be the majority, you want to be the percentage that are thinking big. There are so many people that won't invest into themselves. So even you having the balls to actually commit financially to an investment, even when maybe you weren't in the best financial situation. I've been in crazy financial situations and I've done it. Like, I'm not saying you have to do that, by the way, but I've done that, and I'm so grateful that I've done that, because it made me dangerous. Like, the reason it made me dangerous was because it made me fearless. And I think if you can get fearless about your mind with money can be the biggest trap on all of our lives. And yes, the older you get, the more commitments you have. Kids, we don't have kids. It's a different scenario. However, at the same time, on the same flip side, how badly do you want it? How badly do you want to change? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, by actually putting skin in the game, number one, it makes you go all in. But number two, it's like a spiritual, mental thing for me, of like, I'm not scared of this money. I know I'm going to make this back, and I know I'm going to make more back.
Tenfold, mate.
You know, and that's the mindset that I think is so important when you want to become that next level. Like what I said yesterday, in order to get to the next level, you need to act and think like you're already at that next 100%. Level, you know? It's just a game, man.
You're completely right,
It's
mate.
a game.
And what you said there was unbelievably powerful, by the way, being fearless. Not being scared to invest in yourself, not being scared to get a rejection at the door, not being scared to continuously work harder. That is such a powerful thing to hold with you. It's something that I've only recently started to learn.
Bro.
Great.
What a podcast, man. 100%. What a podcast. I just want to say grateful for Blake. Blake's Instagram, if you want to get connected with Blake personally, will be in the description. And also the Sales Growth Club free community. We will see you in there. It's been amazing. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Buzzing.
Perfect, mate. That was great, mate.
That was very good, bro.